This is going to be a quick video about truck campers and cycling. Specifically, how do you carry your bicycles with a truck camper? Well, the way I've been doing it up until now has been one bike in the rear of the cab and one bike up on the bed. That's how we've been carrying two bikes in this unit, and there has to be a better way. So today I'm going to explain what I've come up with. As a mechanic and as a serious cyclist, I do not put things on the front of my truck. I cannot have a bike rack out front. Not only does it stop airflow to the components up front that dissipate all the heat, but I'm not going to subject any carbon fiber bikes to stone chips and bugs and whatever else is flying up off the road. I just can't do it. And to complicate things even further is the weight of the bike rack. I'll go wide angle here. This is a Thule X2T Pro, I believe it's called, and it's a substantial rack. It's a very good rack, very solid, but it is heavy. So it needs to be attached with something substantial. So this is what I've come up with. Most new trucks, like this 450, the bigger ones anyways, have receivers out back. This one's 3-inch. 2.5 is also common. And what I've done is, oh my, just noticed this right now. Check your generator mounts, everybody. This is the exhaust pipe to the generator. Even brand new. This thing looked torn. I'm going to replace it with something more substantial. It's going to be on my what has broken and what has not on an upcoming video regarding this 2022 camper. Anyway, back to the solution I've come up with. So I'm going to carry bikes using my receiver hitch, but it's got to fit on the back of this Fox Landing. And the Fox Landing, I wanted to build it so that you can utilize the step and all its functions to get in and out of the camper with the bike rack attached. Now there's some flexibility to this and how long you make things. There's already a hole in the middle here cut out to allow for a tube to go through if this was a little higher. So that's all good. So I'm going to attach what I've built and show you how it works. And I did this really cheaply. I bought a section of pipe, square pipe, 3-inch. It's, I believe it's 212 wall. It's very thick pipe. I wouldn't recommend using 120 wall pipe. If you're using 2.5-inch, I would go this or thicker. And what I've done is I've just welded a little piece of bar stock on the bottom for the stabilizer chains to go through. I just made these out of a section of chain and bought a few adjustable links from the local hardware store. And that's what's going to hold it stable side to side. Modifications to the truck. The one thing I had to do to the truck was pull my adapter sleeves out of the hitch and drill 2 holes in my torque lift tie down for the chains. And that's it for the truck for modifications. This thing is also substantial enough that I've already tried adapting and towing another trailer with it. A light trailer's fine behind it. I'm not worried about tongue weight with such a small trailer. My big car hauler, I use a weight distributing hitch and I won't use this. However, I have built this and I've sleeved it down so it adapts to the 2-inch receiver, or 2-inch receiver on that Thule rack, as well as the 2-inch for most trailer balls and such. So it's multi-purpose. That's why there's a sleeve inside this tube. If you're running just 2.5-inch tube, you won't have a sleeve inside. You'll have nothing. So let me put this on the truck and I'll show you how it works. Okay, I've got this attached to the truck now. You can see it fits with enough clearance to run with the step up. I'll show you how this all works. It's attached to the truck. Takes about 2 or 3 minutes to put it on. Same as any other tube you're putting into the receiver. Just push it through and secure it with your safety pin. The chains, they go into the points on the truck and here, and I tighten them all up so they're snug. I'm probably going to run Loctite on some of these bolts if we're traveling extensively, because I can't really see what's going on back here. But I'm not afraid this is going to come apart. How much weight can this hold? Yeah, it'll easily hold e-bikes or the heaviest thing you want to put on the end. It's a heavy duty piece of steel. It will never bend, and it won't break under such a light load as this. But how does this thing work? Well, on this Thule, all bike racks are different. This one folds down this way. And then you put your bikes on, of course, with the attachments. I'm going to show you how this all works. I'm going to put a couple bikes on it. The step does fit with the rack in the down position. I've already tried that. I left enough room for that to do that. Now, when bikes are on here and you want to access it, you might have to step up in here to get into the back while you're traveling, because the bike is going to be here. However, this particular rack, it does fold even further out of the way, and it folds down like that so that I can put the step down and the bikes tilt back for even easier access. I'm going to throw a couple bikes on here and see it all set up. I have not mounted bikes to this yet since I've built it, so this is the first time. Well, I was wrong about the step. The rack does not need to be folded into its extended position to get at the step. I just got really lucky, I guess, and there is enough clearance to fold down the extra step, so there's no problems getting into the camper. I made it just long enough, I guess. All right, let's throw some bikes on here and see how this works. Okay, the bikes are mounted. For the purposes of this demonstration, we have my carbon fiber Damani training bike and Pam's carbon fiber Norco fluid. Usually we take 2 road bikes or 2 mountain bikes, never a mixture, but sometimes you end up with a mixture. I may mount a Bluetooth camera on the back of this that hooks to the phone, just so I can see the bikes. It's such a light load on that giant piece of steel, I anticipate no problems. It's very sturdy, doesn't bounce around no more than any other bike rack on the back of a car hooked to this regular receiver hitch. You can see the chains underneath here, even with all the load on it. Does it move side to side? Not a bit. It is solid. It does not move at all. So that's good. This is the first time I've had bikes on this. I've never had a bike on here before. So to get into the camper with the bikes on, it's not going to be a big deal at all. The step folds down. I won't have to even tilt it back, and you'll be able to get in. Camper's locked right now and access the camper. So that's a good thing, because often you need to stop and use the bathroom facilities in the camper when you're traveling, and that's why I bought the 1150, because you can get at the washroom while you're traveling. So this is going to be a really good addition to my camper and to my travels. I don't have to have bikes inside the cab anymore. I don't have to worry about having a bike on the bed, especially when you're mountain biking and your bike gets all dirty and you gotta clean it off so thoroughly. Downside is you could back into something if you're not careful. I guess it's more stuff off the back, but I'm used to hauling a car hauler behind this, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Also, if it's raining, you're gonna get all the mist of mud on your bikes into the drivetrains, but that's just something cyclists have been putting up for a long, long time. And if you maintain your bike, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I think this has been a success. If you made this tube a bit shorter, you could just lower the rack and still access the step to get in. And folding the step up is no big deal either. It folds up just the same way as before. Anybody with one of these Fox Landings knows exactly what I'm talking about. So there's tons of room. The bikes aren't going to hit this step in any way. They're just going to hang out back here while I drive to the next destination where we can go cycling. So I appreciate any comments anybody has about what I've created here. And like I say in all my videos, this isn't necessarily the best way or the only way. This is just the way I did it. I didn't have a plan or anything. I just built it out of my head and from what I had lying around and what I could scrounge. Total cost to this thing was, I'm thinking, those two links were 10 bucks a piece. This chain was scrap. I had those other things scrap. If you had to buy it all new, including the steel, $60, $80 maybe. And in the future, I use these also for the safety chains, or I put the safety chains for a small trailer on a bolt through here. But I might weld on some rebar loops to make it easier to put safety chains on. But the design of this was never to pull a trailer. It was always going to be to get the bicycles out of the truck and onto the back of the camper here. That's far more easier when you're traveling to deal with bikes back here. Having one on the bed all the time, it's painful. Taking the wheel off and on because it doesn't quite fit, especially a 29er. And a bike in the back of the truck takes up a lot of space in the cab where I would put a cooler sometimes. Yeah, so this is gonna be good. So if anybody else has any inventions they've completed themselves, I'd really like to hear about them. I looked online about buying something like this, and you can buy something like this, and apparently for about $600 to $800 in Canada you can get it, but that's just crazy money. It's probably a lot stronger maybe. It's already built for you, I guess. It all depends on what rack you're running to. We have a single rack lying over here. That's a hell of a lot lighter. It's only a one-place rack, though. You only carry one bike, but it weighs next to nothing compared to this Thule. These Thules are very, very heavy. They're very well built, and they last forever. That's why I bought this. But you know, you can get a lighter rack and make it even easier on the components you choose to put underneath the truck, because lighter is better. Because bikes don't weigh a heck of a lot. This rack probably weighs, I'm thinking these Thules weigh around, got to be 40-45 pounds. The bikes are nothing. This Demonti's probably 17-18, and that Norco's maybe 28. So we don't have any e-bikes, not yet. Maybe in a decade or a decade and a half, but it will hold e-bikes, this thing. And this Thule rack I've chosen holds anything from a road bike wheel up to a fat bike wheel, because I have all those in between: mountain bikes, fat bikes, and road bikes. So I needed a rack that can carry any kind of bicycle. So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think of this creation built out of hobbled together parts. And thanks for watching.